Hello everyone and welcome back to pre-E3 coverage here on JoyClicks. My name's Christian and now it's time to talk Bethesda. So Bethesda, where to start with Bethesda? I remember when they announced their first conference, I think back in 2015. Going into that conference, I was only a big fan because of Skyrim. My brother loved Fallout, so I remember we watched it together. Fallout 4 looked great, and I didn't love the game. I know a lot of people didn't, some people did. But since then, Bethesda has been a mainstay at E3. They haven't skipped a year. They've always delivered something, depending on the quality of the projects or the promises that are made, is up for interpretation. But Bethesda usually has a pretty entertaining, at the least, conference Sunday night following Xbox. So this year, we do know that Bethesda is going to be continuing that trend at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time and 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's probably safe to say we're going to see something from the Elder Scrolls Online. They just launched their Elsewhere expansion. Also can expect to see some update on Elder Scrolls Blades, the recent mobile game. Maybe some Fallout Shelter stuff. Elder Scrolls Legends, the card game. Those games usually return every year to get some sort of update, and I'm used to just expecting the Elder Scrolls Online block anyway, so. But what is most interesting about what I want to bring up in this video is the 6 Bethesda placeholders that were listed on Amazon UK for PS4 and Xbox One. I'm not here to speculate about what these 6 are because that could be anybody's guess, but we do know that there are a few Bethesda IP that should be returning to the stage this year, starting off with Doom Eternal. Now, Doom Eternal, last year we got our first in-depth look at gameplay and multiplayer. Doom Eternal so far has been poised to reinvigorate Doom with a huge focus on story, lore, and world building. We got looks at the demons, citadels, and things to that extent, so they're really pushing the lore of Doom with this upcoming release. So I'm expecting, if this isn't the biggest focus of the presentation, it is going to be very big. Another confirmed release for this year is Wolfenstein Youngblood. Wolfenstein Youngblood is a standalone, not technically sequel, but still continuing the timeline set forth in the recent Wolfenstein reboot. We're playing as BJ Blazkowicz's 2 daughters. This co-op, it's set in the 80s, I think, but the game is releasing on July 26 for Xbox One, PS4, PC, and the Switch, and we really haven't seen much from it. That isn't the summer's only Wolfenstein release because we will be getting Wolfenstein Cyberpilot VR, so I'm expecting that will be featured in Bethesda's VR showcase this year because Bethesda is one of the few major publishers that really emphasize VR year after year. We've seen Doom VFR, Skyrim VR, Fallout 4 VR over the past few years, so I'm interested to see if another franchise of theirs makes the transition into VR headsets. Next, I think we should talk about that game because 2018, if nothing, was entertaining when we saw the release of Fallout 76. Fallout 76 was a garbage truck on fire, and Bethesda knows it, especially after some recent interviews from Todd Howard. They were aware of what that game was when they shipped it. They were hopeful about improving it as time has gone on, but as we've seen, things are pretty quiet on the 76 front after some of those fiascos around launch. Personally, I'm not counting on Fallout 76 to have a stage presence, or Todd Howard for that matter, but if they want to show some dedication to Fallout 76 and continuing to build upon it, maybe they just walk out on stage and show where the game has come from where it launched. I don't know, but Fallout 76 is kind of a big question mark for the E3 representation of this year. But as far as the Bethesda game studio goes, I'm not too sure if they're going to be showing off anything this year. Last year, we saw Todd Howard reveal Starfield is officially a Bethesda project that is being worked on as I speak and edit this video, and the game after that, as he put it, Elder Scrolls 6. So yeah, I don't know if either of those games are going to have any presence. If it is, I can't imagine it's more than a CG trailer. And if I had to put money on it, I would say Starfield, because I really think that whatever exists for the Elder Scrolls 6 right now is, you could contain it in a binder. I really think that game is very far off. But enough about that. It's time to stop focusing on what we know is coming and what Bethesda will be most likely bringing or could be bringing, and it's time to get crazy with some predictions. I think it's not out of the question to expect some new remaster from Bethesda being shown off at E3 this year. Whether it's some combination or form of Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas remastered, I think Bethesda may want to pull the trigger on that bullet. They could risk oversaturating Fallout, but if they put out a really pretty version of either of those games, I'm sure it would help cleanse the bad taste that was left in people's mouths after Fallout 76 launched last year. Unfortunately, as far as Elder Scrolls go, I think the extent of what we get is just going to be Elder Scrolls Online, Elder Scrolls Blades, and their card game, because 6 is a ways off. Maybe they want to release one of the older Elder Scrolls games. Maybe they want to release some of the earlier Fallout games on the Nintendo Switch, because Switch is lacking a Fallout game, a major Fallout game. I'm not counting Shelter now. And off the top of my head, the last major Bethesda title that came to the Switch was Wolfenstein 2. While remasters may be a safe bet, I think an even safer bet, and safe I use loosely because it's just something I really believe here, I think it's time to see a new Evil Within. Evil Within 2 dropped in 2017 and was received fairly well, and it's strange that that game did not get any DLC when you consider that the first Evil Within from Tango Gameworks received loads of DLC. I think they got like 3 or 4 expansion DLCs to really flesh out that universe and that game. Now, I'm not going to stake a claim and fully say it's going to be the Evil Within 3 releasing this October, because if something is shown, I'm betting that it comes out this year. I could see a Dishonored, Death of the Outsider, or Wolfenstein Youngblood style standalone game for the Evil Within. If Bethesda truly was happy with the Evil Within 2, and they like having a Shinji Mikami IP within their stable, I think it would be smart to flesh out that universe outside of the core Evil Within entries. The last major thing I think is worth bringing up is Arcane Studios, because between Dishonored 2, we got Prey and Death of the Outsider, but since then, Arcane's been pretty quiet. I know last year they did update Prey with a fair number of expansions, but I'm curious to see what they're working on next. Is it going to be a new IP? Are they returning to Dishonored? Or maybe their efforts are focused on a next-gen title, regardless of it's Dishonored or a new IP or Prey 2. But that's pretty much everything I am expecting out of the Bethesda conference Sunday night. Again, no focus on Elder Scrolls 6, maybe something from Starfield, probably some Fallout stuff. I'm betting on a new Evil Within and a remaster, like I said. But it does seem like the major focus of this press conference is going to be on Wolfenstein Youngblood and Doom Eternal, which are most likely both going to be fantastic releases if the previous entries in their franchises are anything to go by. So to me, Bethesda's conference is going to be an interesting one. Like I said, I'm not too sure what they're going to show off this year, but I want to hear from you now. What are you expecting to see from Bethesda come this Sunday at E3 2019? Are you excited for anything that I talked about today? Do you think I'm valid in expecting Evil Within? But as always, I'll appreciate any love you want to throw towards the channel, whether it be liking, subscribing, or whatever. But I'm super excited for E3. It's my favorite time of the year. So, until then, good vibes and good game.